Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's David here. I've got a couple of pretty cool things that I wanted to talk about today. It's basically um, how you can experience elements of the cruise shipping experience digitally. So it's not ship simulators, which I know a lot of you follow me for, but it's really about how can we find out more what it's like to be on a cruise ship, what the cabins are like, where the cruise ships go. And I found a couple of cool things as I've been researching this for my work at Alfred Maritime. Um, so yeah, I work for Myverf just now. Myverf build a lot of cruise ships, and I really just wanted to immerse myself and figure out what you can find out from the web just now. So of course, you can go to YouTube. There's loads of YouTubers that do reviews of cabins and all this kind of stuff. And during that research, I found out that Aida and some of the other cruise shipping companies, but Aida by far the best, have full 360 tours of their vessels. So of course you've got like videos here, so you can see a video of the ship, and that's a great way to learn about the vessels for some people. But if you go to the ships in the menu, it's all in German. I think it's primarily a German, targeted shipping company. But if you click on any one of these ships here, the ones on the right here are the newest ones. And you scroll down, you'll see that you've got a couple of things here. So first of all, you've got Bookcam is the bow camera. So this is a live webcam, and it takes a while. It's connecting over the satellite or whatever connectivity they've got. So I'm going to leave that for a second. But the other cool thing you've got is this 360 tours. And what AIDA have done is they have scanned these vessels with Matterport cameras. So Matterport cameras take these kind of 360 panoramas, but at least for the internal spaces, they do a kind of 3D model as well, which I'll show you in a minute. So the cool thing is, I'm just going to have a look. Okay, webcam wasn't working. You can go to pretty much all of the public spaces on these vessels and have a good look around. So here's the full list of every type of cabin. So let's just go to an inside one, something that's a little bit more basic. And yeah, you see there that you get this 360 walk around. And this is what, of course, the property market use pretty much for every single thing that's on the market these days. And you can click around, you can see a little bit of information. Sometimes there's hotspots. And it's a really good tool for people just to get an idea of what to expect, before they go on the ship. And being a kind of digital VR person, I love this kind of stuff. So you can really just walk around and see what's going on. You probably notice that the camera is not at the level of a human being. It's on a tripod. You usually see it in the mirrors, so it's a little bit low. But you can see it's very detailed. The pictures are very high resolution. Here's a drip. You can also see that this cursor here is moving around as if there's like a surface. You can see it's detecting the surfaces there. And you probably noticed this before when you came in. There's actually a 3D model associated with this. So if you go down here, click on the doll's house, you get this 3D view. And this is a side effect of doing those scans. So these 3D models exist for all of these scans. And that's another way of figuring out some of the stuff. So what's the layout like from above? I think you can even click here and you see it from above without perspective. And these kind of things can help you to figure out, what kind of space you're going to. Matterport, which is the platform this is running on, you can see this actually even supports VR. Basically, you go into that 360 view. But Matterport does support the ability to do measurements, add hotspots, and all sorts of other things to make these more interactive. So you can embed videos into them and all that kind of stuff. But basically, this is an amazing way to explore these cruise ships. You get that doll's house, and then you go into these. These are not they're not a digital model. It's a photograph of the real thing. And you can effectively walk around them. So you get an idea of the kind of carpets they've got, which is not particularly my taste in this case, but you can see here's a nice little penthouse suite. which would be pretty cool if you're on a ship to have a cabin this big. You can walk up the stairs. You can really do, a bit of virtual exploring, which is what we all like to do, sort of armchair explorers. And you can get up into the cabin at the top there and see what that view's like, which is pretty cool. Um, and of course, they've not only done it for the cabins, they've done it for all of these public spaces. So let me show you the restaurants. So let's all go to the Brauhaus. We like a Brauhaus. Um, yeah, and it gives you an idea how the ship's decorated, and the kind of atmosphere that they're trying to create in these spaces. So here's the Brauhaus or the beer house. Not the typical. I guess it's trying to be the outside beer garden, of Bavaria in this case. But it's a great way for the cruise company to show off, what they've done in terms of design. And for me, it's a great way for me to figure out if I would like to, go for a cruise on this vessel. And it's pretty cool stuff. The time machine restaurant here is pretty nice as well. My kids like this. So it's all sorts of electrical gadgets and stuff and pipes on the wall. It's obviously got a strong steampunk, cyberpunk theme, a steampunk probably. Yeah, so you can go through the full vessel, and Aida have really done a comprehensive job to do this consistently for every single ship that they've got. You need to close that little side menu just to get back to the doll's house. But yeah, you can see it's a pretty powerful tool. So that's the Matterport 360 views, and every single Aida ship has got that. Just show you one more thing. So yeah, we've got here, the teen club. So for me, this is an extremely useful tool for me to figure out whether I'd like to go on this ship or not. It's really surprised me, but a lot of other companies don't have this. So let's just see. This is the German site, but MSC, for example, they have a very traditional website, and really find many 360 images on it. This is an older vessel. You just get the routes. Okay, you do get here a 360 video tour, which is pretty good. And there you go. So you can see what the day trips are like. 360 video again will work in VR if you've got that, but that's what they've done. So again, I think there's loads of potential for cruise ship companies here to just bring the digital experience a little bit closer to the customer. So while I was doing that search, I came across National Geographic. I came across Hapag Loyd cruises, which are a bit more of the adventure style of cruises. And Hapag Loyd have done a really good job here as well. So they've got these very detailed, high resolution panorama cameras on each vessel. If I zoom out, you can see this is looking forward here where the little flag is, and this is the kind of the wings of the bridge, as far as I can tell here, with the searchlights on them. It's not a live video, but it's a high resolution picture, and as you can see here, you can click through, I think every 10 minutes, looks like. Yeah, so you can go every 10 minutes and see where the ship was. And this gets totally interesting because you can go back a day. So yesterday you can see where this vessel was. And I'll let you guess what country that is for a few more moments. You can even go back a month. So here we are on a pretty windy sea. So they clearly do, the more adventurous places, even go back a year in some cases. And then the coolest thing I found is, okay, you can play a time lapse. So you can do the last 24 hours, which is really cool. So we're sailing up this fjord here. And you can do best shots. So here we are in Hamburg. That's my hometown. There's the opera house, and this is where I used to work down here. So the ship was in Hamburg a while ago. You can even search this. But one of the cool things I really like is this overview map. So you can actually see from the AIS data where the ship was, and you can click anywhere along the track. So you can see it came into Hamburg at night time. Oh, this is it going out of Hamburg. If you actually look at this a little bit better, maybe I can get the way in on this track. No, that might be the way in, this one. But this is a really, really cool way to see where these ships go. So you can see this one actually went to Helgoland, which is a small island off the coast of Hamburg. Still nighttime, which is unusual. Yeah. So there we are in Helgoland. Unfortunately, you can't see behind. I'd love to be able to see behind on these panoramas, but probably the ship structure's in the way. Um, and yeah, you'll notice that if you zoom out, you see here that's the full view of this camera. So you're seeing a little bit behind actually, and you can zoom in quite a lot. So really, really cool tool for people to, as I said, digitally experience a little bit of what it's like to go on a Hapag Loyd cruise. So you can really see they go to, it's smaller vessels, which is really important. So they can go into these more shallow ports. Um, it looks like it maybe just stopped here and turned around and came out again. I think there's a lot of people who do photography. There's a lot of wildlife focus and engaging with nature. But it's really interesting where they can go with these smaller ships. And if you look at these routes here, you might see not this vessel. I don't know if it helps if I go forward a year. Yeah, so you do get different itineraries for each year. This is interesting. This is Tenerife, and you can really, really just spend hours on this kind of thing. So they're at Mauritius. Wow, here we are at what's that, Madagascar. So yeah, totally interesting for me to be able to see a webcam live, where these ships are. And of course, if your family are on these cruise ships, that'd be really cool to just to follow where they are and say, look at the webcam today. So, ships have these days really good connectivity. Okay, this is just one image. It's sending a high resolution image every 10 minutes. But you can see there, I think even where it's out in the open ocean, is able to send these pictures back. Let's go right into the middle of the open ocean here and see how far. Okay, between Mauritius, yeah. So you've got Starlink or whatever technology it is these days. So super, super interesting. Really makes me want to do a Hapag Loyd cruise. You can see all the interesting places that they go. And you can literally see what it looks like on every step of the journey. Sometimes there's not very much to see, but they go to the Antarctic, they go to the North. There we go, there's an Antarctic cruise here. It's just absolutely stunning for me that you can go on these adventurous kind of cruises. You can choose the different vessels here. So here's Europa. It's one of the older vessels, I believe. But you can actually see the bow there and a string of lights. That's quite nice. And you can do exactly the same for every single one of their ships. You can just, so this is where this ship is just now. It's come out of Hamburg and it's heading down that part of the North Sea, or English Channel almost. And we can see what it was doing in Hamburg. So super interesting for me just to see this amount of information. There it was docked in Hamburg in the cruise terminal in the Hafen City. The other thing I wanted to show was that they do have on the main page, you can even get to 360s. So if you go down here, it's a little bit tricky. Webcam and more, probably is in here. Yeah, so they've got a 360 system, and this is really cool. You'll see on some of them, you actually have animated stuff. So they've different controls from Matterport. So you can see here, this fire is animated. The rest is just super, super high resolution photography. And they actually have people speaking to you in certain parts. And it's not very clear in the beginning, but the way that you navigate around the vessel is slightly different from the Matterport one. So you're on this deck and you can basically click around the hotspots. In some cases, when you can see the next hotspot like this, you will be able to click out. But I find this by far the easiest way. So there's a shop. This will be like a lobby area. This will be a small restaurant. This will be a larger restaurant. Super high quality images, and the ships are beautiful. And it's a little bit tricky, but you have to click back here, and then you can get to all of the spaces again. You don't have the doll's house view, but these panoramic images are, extremely high quality. So you can go to the outside. There's only a few spots on that deck. Yeah, so really, really nice way to navigate around in here. So let's just go to the bathroom. Let's go in this junior suite. The pictures are so good that they look like renderings in some cases. They're like too perfect. But again, Hapag Loyd doing a great example of how to give customers a little bit of that immersive experience of what it's like on board their vessels. I see here there is a VR mode. So I'm going to try this on my Quest later because these look like really good walkthroughs. And there's a few other options in here. So you can do a slideshow, you can book a trip, things that allow you to just go out. Yeah, so there's the full screen version. But this is in some ways better than the Matterport navigation, but a very acceptable way to get to see around a ship. I really like this stuff. It lets you see all the details, the things that you might experience, so you don't get any surprises when you go on board. So there you go. That's a little bit of how to experience a cruise digitally these days. That's all for now. Hope you enjoy this content and look forward to your comments.